You are losing money every time you open your mouth to explain yourself. Not metaphorically. Literally. Every justification you give to someone who already disrespects you depreciates your authority. Every explanation to someone who's decided you're wrong transfers power you will never recover. Every emotional reaction in a negotiation, a meeting, or a relationship is a tax on your income. The wealthiest men in every room you'll ever enter have mastered one skill you're still bleeding from. Strategic silence. While you're defending your boundaries with paragraphs, they're enforcing theirs with nothing. No confrontation. No explanation. Just surgical, unreadable quiet that makes manipulators panic and competitors miscalculate. Stop explaining yourself. It's costing you respect. It's costing you leverage. It's costing you capital. You lost the negotiation because you got defensive when they lowballed you. You lost the promotion because you couldn't hide your frustration when they questioned your competence. You lost frame in the relationship because you needed them to understand instead of simply comply. Weak boundaries don't just damage respect. They drain your bank account. The men who control markets, run empires, and dictate terms understand this. Boundaries defended with words are negotiable. Boundaries enforced with silence are law. Your calm is a weapon, and you've been giving it away for free. The Stoics built this framework 2,000 years ago. You're going to learn it in the next 13 minutes. But first, a moment of recognition. This message was not designed for the masses. It does not trend. It does not entertain. It reaches only those who sought it deliberately. Right now, as these words land, minds like yours are watching from scattered outposts across the globe. From the trading floors of Singapore before dawn, the quiet discipline of a Tokyo apartment, the controlled chaos of Manhattan at midnight, a home office in Oslo, a late shift in Sao Paulo. We are few, but we are everywhere. Mark your place in the comments below. Not for connection, for the record. Let us see how far this network of sovereign minds extends. Watching from Berlin. Checking in from Dubai. Reporting from the mountains of Colorado. Announce your outpost. This is the roll call of men who refuse to drown in noise. Marcus Aurelius didn't philosophize about power. He wielded it. Emperor of Rome. The largest empire in human history. Surrounded by senators plotting his assassination, generals envious of his position, barbarians collapsing his borders. His survival tool wasn't military force. It was disciplined silence. He wrote one line that separates emperors from slaves: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Translation for men building empires today: you don't control the market. You don't control your competition. But you control your reaction, and that is the only leverage that compounds. Epictetus went from Roman slave to the most feared teacher in the empire with one framework: no one can hurt you without your permission. The Stoics didn't write self-help. They wrote the operating system for men under siege. Now, if you've seen Think Stoic 101's video, someone is afraid of you now. Here's why: Stoicism. You already understand the psychological foundation. Why silence creates power. Why detachment generates fear. That video covers the theory effectively. But theory doesn't close deals. It doesn't enforce consequences in real time. And it doesn't protect you when someone's testing your boundaries in a boardroom or a relationship. What you're learning here is execution. The specific protocols that turn Stoic philosophy into competitive advantage. The frameworks emperors used. The deployment system for modern warfare. Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, law for always say less than necessary. Greene gave you the principle. The Stoics give you the discipline to execute it when your ego is screaming, your anger is justified, and every instinct says defend yourself. Silence isn't theory. It's compound interest on your reputation. The longer you hold it, the more authority accrues. Emotional reactions are a tax you pay in real time. The deal you lost because you couldn't hide irritation when they questioned your price. The client who walked because you over-explained and sounded desperate. The promotion that went to someone calmer, even though you were more qualified. Reaction is a liability. Silence is an asset. The men at the top, private equity, C-suite, geopolitical negotiation, have eliminated that liability completely. Here's the divide. Average men defend boundaries with explanations. Those explanations become evidence against them. They need people to understand their decisions. They react on schedule, predictable, controllable, replaceable. Elite men enforce boundaries through withdrawal of access. They operate on one assumption: those who deserve to understand already do. They give no feedback. Unreadable, unpredictable, untouchable. The gap between these men isn't talent. It isn't resources. It's self-governance. And in a world where everyone leaks their state through tone, posture, and overcommunication, self-governance is the last asymmetric advantage. The Stoics discovered what psychology finally named centuries later: emotional intelligence is response, not reaction. But here's the darker layer they understood: silence eliminates the attack surface manipulation requires. Guilt trips need your guilt. Gaslighting needs your confusion. Provocation needs your reaction. Remove participation. The system collapses. Every time you justified yourself to someone who already decided you're wrong, you handed them ammunition. Every time you explained your boundaries to someone who profits from violating them, you drew them a map of your weak points. You weren't communicating. You were exposing yourself. They took notes. They learned your triggers. They discovered which buttons to push and in what sequence to destabilize you. Your words became their playbook. But silence? Silence cannot be twisted. Silence cannot be misquoted. Silence leaves no evidence trail for manipulation. Silence is the boundary that enforces itself. When you go quiet, something shifts in the room. The people who relied on reading you suddenly can't. The manipulators who used your reactions as confirmation lose their feedback loop. You become unreadable. And unreadable is untouchable. They don't know if you're angry or indifferent. They don't know if you're planning or detached. They don't know if silence means strategy or disinterest. That uncertainty terrifies them. Because control requires prediction. And you just became unpredictable. This is why your calm intimidates more than your anger ever could. Anger is readable. Anger has a pattern. Anger can be baited, escalated, and weaponized against you. But calm? Calm is a locked vault they cannot crack. The 7 protocols you're about to learn will turn you into that vault. These are not suggestions. They are operational protocols. Each one removes a vulnerability. Each one compounds authority. Execute them in sequence. Watch what breaks. Rule 1. Stop explaining yourself to people who profit from your confusion. Justification is negotiation. Negotiation implies your boundary is optional. It's not. The moment you explain a decision to someone who already disrespects you, you're asking for permission you don't need. Every reason you give becomes a point they can argue. Every justification becomes leverage they'll use later. A private equity partner doesn't explain why he's passing on your deal. Not aligned with our current thesis. The door closes. Silently. Completely. No follow-up meeting. No detailed breakdown of why you failed. You deploy the same framework. Someone demands an explanation for your boundary. I've made the call. Someone guilt trips you for your decision. I understand you're upset. Then nothing. No elaboration. No defense. No negotiation. The silence says everything. This isn't a discussion. This is a declaration. Swiss private bankers don't explain client decisions. Disclosure is liability. Your reasoning is proprietary information. Protect it like capital. Rule 2. Let your calm destroy their chaos in volatility. Calm is command. The least reactive person controls the frame. Chaos is contagious. So is calm. But calm wins because it forces everyone else to adjust their frequency to match yours or reveal themselves as unstable. Market collapse. Panicked investors sell everything at a loss. Warren Buffett stays emotionally neutral. He buys the dip. His calm wasn't personality. It was strategy. Your competitors are loud. Emotional. Telegraphing weakness through reactive behavior. You're the signal they're trying to read. In confrontations, your silence forces them to fill the void. And they will. They'll over-explain, over-justify, incriminate themselves trying to provoke a reaction that never comes. The Federal Reserve doesn't react to every market fluctuation. It moves with deliberate, calculated calm. So do you. Rule 3. Treat emotional access like equity. Allocate it strategically. Your time, attention, and emotional bandwidth are assets under management. Distributing them without ROI is capital mismanagement. Most men give their emotional availability to anyone who asks. Then wonder why they're exhausted, disrespected, and broke. Fortune 500 CEOs don't take every meeting. Time is allocated to value creation only. If you're not moving the mission forward, you don't get on the calendar. Same framework for your emotions. Not everyone deserves your anger. Not everyone earns your explanation. Not everyone gets your vulnerability. Someone tries to provoke you? No reaction. They're not worth the expense. Someone demands emotional labor you don't owe? Withdraw access. You are the gatekeeper. Silence is your due diligence process. Your inner world is a private investment fund. Membership is invitation only. Most people don't qualify. Rule 4. Use silence to force manipulators into the light. Manipulators require feedback to calibrate their strategy. No reaction equals system failure. Every manipulative tactic, guilt trips, gaslighting, provocation, is a test. They're measuring your response to map your vulnerabilities. High-stakes negotiation. They make an aggressive lowball offer. Then wait. First person to speak after the offer loses. Silence generates unbearable pressure. They start justifying their number, lowering their ask, revealing desperation. Personal dynamics work the same way. Someone guilt trips you, provokes you, baits you with passive aggression. You give nothing. They'll either respect the wall or expose themselves trying to break it. And when they expose themselves, everyone in the room sees it. Polygraph machines measure reaction. No reaction equals no data. You just became unreadable. Pause. If you've made it this far, you're not a passive viewer. You're studying, executing, building, which means you understand what we're fighting against. The algorithm, that invisible curator of modern attention, does not reward depth. It rewards distraction. It would prefer you clicked away to something effortless. Something that confirms weakness instead of confronting it. Something optimized for dopamine, not discipline. This content will never trend. It was never designed to. It was designed to survive. To reach the next man who needs it. The one sitting in a boardroom tomorrow. The one negotiating his worth next week. The one who's been explaining himself to people who will never respect him and is finally ready to stop. But the algorithm only promotes what gets signaled. So here is the strategic reality: the like button is not applause. It is a vote, a declaration that wisdom deserves bandwidth over noise. The share is not promotion. It is a tactical strike, forcing this message past the gatekeepers who profit from keeping men weak. If you believe what you've learned here deserves to reach the next man building his empire in silence, signal it now. This is not a request for validation. It is an alliance against mediocrity. Make your move. Then return to the protocols. Rule 5. Become unreadable. Erase predictability. If they can map your triggers, they own the engagement. Predictability is a tactical weakness. The moment someone knows exactly how you'll react to a specific stimulus, they control you. Elon Musk's silence on certain strategic moves creates market speculation, media frenzy, and competitor paralysis. Uncertainty equals optionality. He holds leverage because no one knows his next move. You deploy the same strategy. Stop announcing your plans. Stop reacting on cue. Stop being the person they can predict and therefore manipulate. Become a black box. They don't know if you're angry or indifferent, planning or detached, interested or moving on. That uncertainty keeps them off balance. Forever. In poker, in war, in business, the unknown player is the most dangerous. They can't prepare for what they can't predict. Rule 6. Withdraw attention as reallocation, not revenge. Silence isn't punishment. It's capital moving to higher returns. You're not punishing them by going quiet. You're reallocating finite resources, your time, your energy, your presence, to investments that yield value. Venture capitalist meets with a founder who violates term sheet agreements. The VC doesn't argue, doesn't lecture, doesn't send angry emails. He just stops returning calls. The deal dies quietly. No drama. No public fallout. Just silent reallocation of capital to better opportunities. You execute the same protocol. No breakup speech. No final confrontation. No explanation of why you're done. Just reduced availability. Slow fade into nothing. They'll feel the shift. That's the only message they need. Capital flows to ROI. So does your presence. You're not being cold. You're being efficient. Rule 7. Guard your peace like a fiduciary guards assets. A fiduciary has a legal obligation to protect client capital. You have the same obligation to your mental sovereignty. Your peace isn't a luxury. It's your highest yield, non-renewable asset. Anything that disrupts it without ROI must be eliminated immediately. Warren Buffett's calendar filter: I don't do anything that doesn't create value. He protects his time, his attention, his internal climate with the discipline of a vault manager. You do the same. Someone brings chaos into your environment? Cut access. Drama with no upside? Exit the room. Relationship that drains more than it fills? Withdraw investment. No guilt. No second guessing. Just fiduciary level discipline. Your peace is the foundation every empire you build rests on. Compromise it, and everything collapses. Manage your mind like a portfolio. Eliminate liabilities. Compound assets. Ruthlessly. 2 paths in front of you. Path 1, the reactive. Explaining yourself to people who will never respect you. Defending boundaries with words they'll weaponize. Staying readable, controllable, replaceable. You'll burn energy justifying decisions to those who've already decided you're wrong. You'll leak power to manipulators who study your reactions like a playbook. You'll stay trapped in the exhausting cycle of proving yourself to people who profit from your confusion. Path 2, the sovereign. Unreadable. Unbothered. Enforcing consequences without negotiation. Operating with the self-mastery of Marcus Aurelius and the strategic discipline of men who've never lost. You'll protect your peace like a fiduciary protects assets. You'll allocate emotional access like capital, strategically, ruthlessly. You'll become the calm that destroys chaos simply by refusing to participate in it. The difference between these paths isn't intelligence, isn't resources. It's silence. The ability to stop participating in your own erosion. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire in history not by speaking louder, but by mastering himself completely. You're building your empire. Business. Family. Legacy. A life that doesn't apologize. Men who build empires don't negotiate respect. They become undeniable. Quietly. Completely. Without permission. Your silence isn't weakness. It's wealth. The compounding interest on self-respect. The scarcest asset in a world drowning in noise. The boundary that enforces itself. This is the operating system of emperors. This is how power protects itself. This is how you become untouchable. Stop explaining. Start enforcing. Your silence is the verdict. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Marcus Aurelius: before you leave, an audit. We are building something here. Not a channel that begs for attention. A fortress. A daily transmission for men who refuse to participate in their own erosion. Every protocol you learn today was designed to compound. Rule stacked on rule. Silence reinforcing silence. Discipline becoming reflexive. But I don't need every viewer. I need the ones who execute. So here is the challenge: if you've watched this far, absorbed 7 frameworks that most men will never encounter, and still choose not to subscribe, that is your right. A Stoic does not beg. A Stoic values truth above validation. Leave a comment below telling me exactly why you won't join. What was missing? What failed to land? Where did the logic break? I seek refinement, not applause. Criticism from a disciplined mind holds more value than 1,000 passive subscriptions. Audit your objection. State it clearly. But if you scroll through your reasons and find none, if you search for an objection and come up empty, if the only honest answer is that this content serves your becoming, then you have found your place. Subscribe and close the gate behind you. Comment your answer. What's cost you more, the need to be understood or the need to be right? The men who answer are the men who execute. The next transmission covers the 5 Stoic wealth laws no one discusses. Dismissed.